Hey everybody, it's Natalie from Power Moon Tarot. Welcome to your reading. Today's reading is regarding the upcoming Mercury retrograde in Virgo that we're going to be experiencing starting August 23rd through September 14th. I have my notes right here and I will be going over that in the beginning and explaining to you astrologically what certain things you can expect out of this retrograde. But if you'd like to go just straight to your tarot reading, you're also welcome to do that. And there'll be links in the description box below. And for pile number 1, we have the cherries. For pile number 2, we have the apple. And for pile number 3, we have the strawberry. I picked all red fruits. I just thought, how fun. Anyway, I'm being silly. But let's go ahead and we will get into some of the astrological points that I'm making. And like I said, if you'd like to go straight to your pile, you can click the description box below and find your pile. But in the meantime, for those of you that want to stick around and hear a little bit more about the astrological implications, I'm going to go ahead and break that down. So this retrograde is actually from Mercury 21 degrees Virgo to 8 degrees Virgo. And so if you have Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, or Pisces planets, anywhere between 8 degrees to 21 degrees of Virgo, and I would also add, really anything from 0 degrees Virgo or 1 degree Virgo to 27 degrees Virgo, in any of the mutable signs such as Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, or Pisces, you're definitely going to feel this retrograde a little bit more. And I mentioned in a video before that I wasn't real excited for this retrograde because I do have my Mercury's in the early degrees of Gemini, and every time, and it's also squaring Mars. And every time these energies come up, it's funny. And I really have to watch what I say and what I do. And I think particularly during this Mercury retrograde, as Mercury is stationing retrograde right next to Mars. So we do need to be really careful about agitation, popping off, boiling over, mental stress, saying too much, getting angry for no reason, watching what we're saying, watching what we're doing. During the Mercury retrograde, there'll also be a point where Mercury is opposing Neptune in Pisces, and also a point during the retrograde when Mercury is making a quincunx to Chiron in Aries. And I'm not saying the retrograde is going to be all bad or everything is going to be wrong and it's going to be horrible and awful. I'm definitely not saying that. There are some very supportive influences. For example, Mercury is trining Pluto. Mercury will also be trining Jupiter and Uranus, and we'll have a grand Earth trine going on in the sky. And so that's, a good thing. And there are some positive, like I said, some positive influences. So just because we're hitting into retrograde season here with Mercury retrograde doesn't mean everything's going to hell. But this video is called What to Watch Out For. So I'm going to point out some of the things in each pile that you should be watching out for during this retrograde. And as they say, forewarned is forearmed. So that's good. Let's go ahead and talk about some of the things that may come up as a result of this Mercury retrograde. So like I mentioned, Mercury is stationing retrograde against the planet Mars in Virgo, which is also very agitating energy, very overthinking type of energy, agitation, criticism, popping off, insulting people, this type of stuff. We want to watch out for our road rage, for our tempers, this type of thing, especially around the days that Mercury is stationing, which is going to be August 23rd, okay, in a couple of days here. Also, Mercury is going to be opposing Neptune. And so we're going to go from this very strong Mercury-Mars energy to Mercury and Virgo retrograde opposing Neptune. And that could involve us forgetting things, kind of being in a mental fog, mental drift, poor focus, revising old projects. We may be looking like our dreams are not logical or rational at this time. When Mercury is opposing Neptune, it may not be a very great time for study. We may feel like we're lacking motivation, having to rewrite papers, feeling spacey, Make sure you write things down in your calendar and you double check your details and double check your dates when you're scheduling things and doing things. I always recommend that during Mercury retrograde, but since we have Mercury in Virgo retrograde opposite Neptune, I think it would be very easy to write down an appointment incorrectly, needing a mental vacation from things. Quality standards may slip as we see Mercury retrograde opposing Neptune. We may also have some very far out psychic dreams and very detailed dreaming time. So it might be a good time to write down your dreams, and your dreams may reveal something to you that you've been missing all along. And maybe when we have Mercury retrograde opposing Neptune, it might be a great time for creative writing or automatic writing, psychic writing, okay? And Mercury opposite Neptune can also result in missing deadlines. And I also had this image of somebody like unassembling something and then not being able to kind of put it back together. So if you're doing any kind of unassembling during this Mercury retrograde and trying to put something together, just be very aware of how the pieces go together or how they were all put together in the first place, and maybe take some detailed notes on that. And be careful with your deadlines and what you're committing to as well from a deadline perspective. When Mercury retrograde opposes Neptune, you may need to take a break from something you've been working on. If you're trying to get refunds and you're questioning purchase decisions that you made, or you have some type of buyer's remorse, this Mercury retrograde is going to end with an opposition to Saturn. So just be careful what you're buying, I would say, because you may get some buyer's remorse by the end of the retrograde, which ends on September 14th. And if you're trying to get a refund, or you get some type of a mysterious refund because Mercury rules merchants and commerce, you could have some, refund coming to you that you didn't expect, that type of thing, okay? And like I said, Mercury is opposing Saturn by the end of this retrograde. So just be careful, because I think, reality is going to hit again. And then I would say also Mercury opposite Neptune, Mercury retrograde opposite Neptune would be a good time for hypnosis for those of you that are trying to, heal something or work with something. The hypnosis factor will be really high then. You may become overwhelmed by people who are saying too much or talking too much, especially with Mercury in Virgo retrograde. You may be drawn to fantasy books, drawn to fantasy characters. And when Mercury is opposing Neptune, it's a good time to not talk as much, but to take in sounds, take in music, do some reading, watch some things that are stimulating your imagination. If you try to force your mind to get too technical during the middle part of this retrograde, you may find it very frustrating, and it may not be a great time for super detailed work, but it may be a good time for abstract art. The only thing is, with your projects, you may not know where to start when Mercury retrograde is opposing Neptune, which may lead to some procrastination. So just watching out for those energies as this Mercury retrograde opposes Neptune. Now, the other thing I want to mention is that Mercury is also going to be in a quincunx in the middle of this retrograde towards to Chiron in Aries. And this is going to be a little bit tough, I feel, because when we see Mercury in Virgo retrograde in a quincunx to Chiron in Aries, we can have people being smart asses in the way that they're talking. You could have extreme sarcasm. You could have people insulting other people's intelligence and, saying words that sting other people, that feel very insulting. There may be a lot of prank calls going on at that time. And touchy, sensitive topics may be best to avoid at this time, because someone may have trouble, you may have trouble understanding someone during this time, and you're not wanting to tell someone that their product sucks, or perhaps you do want to leave a bad review for someone, or perhaps you do want to let someone know, hey, your product sucks and I don't like it. But I also feel with this Mercury quincunx Chiron, there could be this energy of not understanding each other or not connecting verbally, and conversations becoming kind of awkward with certain people, okay? And you may not feel like telling someone the truth during this Mercury-Neptune opposition, quincunx Chiron. You may be trying to avoid a difficult conversation that you need to have with someone. You may want to avoid a difficult conversation or put off a conversation if people are not really listening to you, okay? And although this Mercury retrograde may be a good time for changes in your daily routine and looking at your daily routine and things that you'd want to try differently, it may be a good idea to take a break from doing the same thing every day, as that can get really tedious, okay? You may find too during this retrograde that people are swearing a lot, they're being very sarcastic, they're acting like real smartasses, and that's because Mercury is stationing retrograde next to Mars in Virgo, okay? And Mercury, Mars, and Virgo, that's a tough one. And with Mercury quincunx Chiron, it may be a good time to avoid touchy, sensitive topics and kind of put them off for a later time when people are more calm, okay? And also I have here Mercury Chiron, being unable to approach someone or talk to them. It's like awkwardness. You see somebody at a bar or you go up to try to talk to someone and you say something dumb, or you stumble upon what you're saying, or you put your foot in your mouth big time, or you're afraid to talk to someone, okay? And so this Mercury retrograde quincunx Chiron, also like because Mercury's in Virgo retrograde, like really screwing up your facts or really kind of going up to talk to someone and then fumbling the ball, saying the wrong thing, being unable to approach and talk to someone, maybe due to a lack of self-esteem or just feeling awkward. Also Mercury quincunx Chiron in Aries, where you're unable to find things in common with someone. And this, I'm kind of imagining more in a dating scene or getting to know someone new. There might be like, we're trying to strike up a conversation, but it's very awkward. We don't really have things in common. Like I did walk over to this person to try to approach them, but now I'm like stuttering and stumbling over my words and I don't really know what to say and I'm kind of saying the wrong thing. Okay, also sometimes with Mercury here in Virgo, quincunx Chiron can be talking too much because of an awkward silence. Like if they're, you're trying to get to know someone, they're not really saying anything, you're having to pull the words out of them. And it's like, so you start talking a lot. So I would watch for these patterns as we move through this retrograde, okay? And if you can't find the word for something, like this morning, I was trying to write something down and I'm like, I can't remember that word. I can't find the right word for it. So just be patient for yourself because we do have that Mercury opposing Neptune. Also, I think with Mercury quincunx Chiron and Aries, there's a huge opportunity for people to take things the wrong way, okay? And to misinterpret your message entirely and to get really triggered by your message, even though, it has nothing to do with that. So I think people are going to be very sensitive from a communication standpoint. And there's a high probability that someone will hear you talking or hear what you're saying and completely misinterpret your message or completely feel triggered by something you're saying, even though it's very benign or you're just sharing a fact about something. So I would watch out for that energy, particularly for those of you that are dating or getting to know new people, that type of thing. Especially for you guys that are dating, if you go out during a Mercury retrograde opposed Neptune, it's like, wow, we like each other, we have everything in common. And then you get to the second or third date when Mercury is quincunxing Chiron, and it's like, yeah, we have nothing to talk about. There's nothing here. Like, this is very awkward, okay? So I would just watch out for that energy. And you know what's so funny, you guys, is I wrote all of this stuff down about people misinterpreting your message and taking something you say the wrong way and getting very triggered by it, like it's directly to them and they need to feel some type of way about it. And it's so funny, after I wrote that down, I was sitting at my kitchen table, I wasn't on YouTube, I didn't have anything in front of me, just my pen and paper. And as soon as I got up from the table and I went to check my channel and my stats from yesterday, I saw somebody left me a comment on my last video that I made, which I deleted because, you know, it's just better at this point not to respond. But like, you know, someone who took something I said very out of context and took it the total wrong way and was, you know, just kind of very triggered by something that I said in the reading that completely was not how I meant it. So I think like it's very important that this point of people being triggered by things that you say and not really understanding where you're coming from with a message. And the more you try to clarify what you're saying, the more the person is arguing with you or taking offense to it. And you just have to, at some point, check your own self and say, is it really worth it, you know, to get in some type of back and forth ordeal, especially with Mercury stationing on Mars, all right? And I would also be really careful of people having an unrealistic like aspect of perfection when it comes to communication. And I think at this point, we need to be a lot more like, you know, it would be helpful if people could automatically not go to the worst thing, if they could for a second slow down their own reaction and really think about what that other person was trying to say and really try to process it without taking it totally personally. Because not everything is about you and not everything is about your particular situation, just like not everything is about me or my particular situation. So I think we would do good as a human family to take those words into consideration. And I just think it's interesting. So anyway, it was funny to me because as soon as I stopped writing that Mercury retrograde, you know, piece of information I just read to you guys, I was like, okay, faced with an exact example of that. So anyway, I would just be cognizant of those issues. And yes, we do have a lot of retrograde planets right now. Yes, it does get tiring. Yes, it does get annoying. And I know sometimes it's like, ugh, why do we have to go through this as human beings? I feel ya. I really, really do. But I also think some really good things can come out of this retrograde too, and some really fantastic creative work. You know, I would say stay out of other people's business during this retrograde. Not every single thing deserves a response. Maybe disappearing into your own creative matrix is a healthy place to be when everyone else is nitpicking at each other, okay? So let's go ahead and get into pile number 1. Let's do it. Okay, pile number 1, welcome to your reading. You chose the Cherries, and today's reading is called What to Expect During This Mercury and Virgo Retrograde. Now, I did a whole intro on Mercury and Virgo retrograde from an astrological perspective. You can go back and listen to that if you like, but without any further ado, let's go ahead and get into pile number 1. Let's do it. Spirits, angels, and guides, please connect me to the energy for pile number 1, who comes here today with an open heart and an open mind, seeking your guidance. Thank you for allowing me to be the medium in the channel between yourself and pile number 1. Let's go ahead. Can you show me what pile number 1 needs to watch out for as we enter into this Mercury retrograde period? What does pile number 1 need to watch out for? Okay. The World card. Excellent. Okay. Like you guys, I mean, you stay in your happy little bubble and you keep your little cute little nose to the grindstone, pile number 1, and good things can come during this retrograde for you. We have the 7th house of relating and relationships. Excellent. Finally getting over something and moving on from something. We have the sun and moon and union. Very, very lovely. Okay. We have the tower, solid foundation, success with effort. Okay. Building a solid foundation, and not the tower in the sense of the tarot, but the tower in this deck actually looking very solid and building one layer at a time, okay? And taking your time to ensure quality and to ensure that things are progressing, not rushing things, doing things in the proper order to ensure a solid foundation. We have dog here, protection from a powerful friend. Ooh, I like that. Hey now, pile number one. And perhaps some of you have a dog or you have pets, and you know, Virgo, Mercury in Virgo retrograde could be a good time to take your pet to the vet. And I know I'm taking my dog to the vet during this retrograde and different stuff. So it's a good time to think about your animals and take care of your animals as well. We have third eye chakra. Ooh, okay. Someone knows when you need their help. You don't even have to call. And I feel like a lot of this could be going on during the retrograde. You're like, I was just thinking about you. And all of a sudden a friend calls you up and you're like, shit, I was just actually thinking about you. And boom, here you are calling me up. So I feel like a lot of that could be going on too for you during this retrograde, pile number one, like a lot of coincidences going on. Ooh, we have the third eye chakra and the sacral chakra. And during my message, I did talk about creativity as Mercury is opposing Neptune during this retrograde, and you know, being able to calm the mind and sink into that very beautiful ocean of creativity, okay, and release stress. A lot of people hold stress in their third eye or in their brow chakra right between their eyes, and being able to release some of that and let it go. I also feel like you guys are relating to someone on a very intimate level during this Mercury retrograde, okay? And you're getting to know someone better, I feel like, during this Mercury retrograde, so that's cool. Wow, past life energy. And that's coming out under this seventh house of relating and the sun and the moon and union. And when we talk about the seventh house, we're talking about partners, companionship. I also feel compatibility, okay? So working on forming a solid foundation as far as compatibility goes. Equilibrium, sharing, communion, justice, balance, and social awareness. Very nice. And we have a past life influence here showing up now in your seventh house of partnerships. We also have transits here and the climate that is currently surrounding you. And this could be a very karmic time for you guys in pile number one, and where you're really ending karmic cycles with this world card right here. And I actually feel like this retrograde could be very good for you guys, pile number one. I feel like, you know, yeah, I feel like you're closing a big chapter, and the transits astrologically are helping you guys, because the transits are all about what's happening right now. And of course we have past life and what's happening right now. So what's happening right now also relates to a past life period as well. But there is a need to embrace what is happening right now and to close some karmic cycles, I feel. Okay? And protection from a powerful friend. I love that. And somebody really like guarding your efforts. I feel this could be somebody at work. It could be like a best friend or somebody close to you. It could be a colleague and someone that has your back. It could also be like your actual animals that you love, okay? Protection from a powerful friend. I love that. No one would even think of messing with you right now, pile number one. Look at you go. I'm going to take a drink of water. I feel like your guys' whole thing this retrograde is establishing a good communication and good relationship skills, and a sense of companionship or a sense of feeling a part of something, okay, during this retrograde. And I do think something could be intensifying for you during this retrograde from a relationship perspective, okay? We have judgment. I like it. Very freeing. Ooh, the King of Swords. I feel like this is a big talk, and it's about understanding where each other are at, you know? And I do feel somebody really wants to hear from you during this retrograde, and perhaps some of you are involved with the King of Swords. That could be an air sign, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, okay? But truly understanding where you're at and where you're coming from is helpful to this person, okay? And I do feel Judgment is very past life energy too. I do feel like there's someone in your life or someone coming into your life who you knew from a past life, okay? But if we want to make things different this time around, then we need to be like very open with our communication and, you know, not compromising a sense of self or just agreeing to agree, but actual understanding each other and where each other are coming from, okay? And I actually feel like somebody hears what you're saying deeply and intensely, pile number one, okay? There's somebody in your life who really, really is going to get it. I feel like during this retrograde, if you're like, I really need this person to understand where I'm coming from, or I really need to feel understood by this person, I feel like this is happening, okay? And then we have the Wheel of Fortune. This is nice, pile number one. We have death and rebirth, but I feel it's more on the rebirth end of things, okay? And it's really exciting, actually. And I feel like some of you may be traveling or making plans for your comeback. All right, I like it. Pile number one. Ooh, we have the Page of Wands. I knew that it was going to come up. I had a feeling. And actually, I feel like this retrograde period is really good for you guys. I feel like it gives you an opportunity to have an important discussion with somebody that you've been holding off on doing, or perhaps you haven't been, you know, wanting to say something, but it actually helps. And I'm getting one of those conversations with somebody that's like a DTA. A DTR, defining the relationship. Okay. I'm getting like a, you know, deeply relating to someone and talking about where you stand with someone, building that solid foundation with someone. Okay. Define the relationship. I feel some of you may be having that type of discussion with a particular person during this retrograde, okay? And I also feel there's opportunities for travel, or there's opportunity to make some really exciting plans for the future. And everybody says don't travel during a retrograde, it's not good. But sometimes you have to, or sometimes it's the right time and you need to. Okay, but the point is, I feel like with the Page of Wands is not to overthink things and to really have some fun and really enjoy yourself. I'm also getting, for those of you that are, I'm getting particularly actors, okay, for those of you that are into acting or theater or any type of thing like that, I feel like, wow, you know, the perfect role comes along for you. Third eye chakra, sacral chakra, something you're born to do, all right? And if you're in any type of a creative field at all, I feel like, whoa, you may be feeling intensely creative during this time. And you may feel like doing something that you've never done before. You're like, fuck it, you know, what do I have to lose? The Wheel of Fortune and Death. Like, you know, I'm done with this old stuff. Like, what do I have to lose? Okay. And I'm also getting something about somebody's work and something about receipts or accounts receivable, or coming with the receipts, or showing something to someone at your work that really changes their perspective on you, or really shows what you're made of. I'm getting something about that, particularly for those of you that work in technical fields. I am getting a message about that too. I do feel like you're given more freedom and you're given more like control or creative control or freedom over what you're doing, because I also feel with Judgment and the King of Swords, some of you could be uncovering something or pointing something out, okay, and uncovering something or learning something new where you need to tell a person above you at work, or you're uncovering something is what I'm getting, okay? And it's like, whoa, you know, you really got the attention of the higher ups, or you really got the attention of somebody. You really have their ear. And I also feel like for those of you that are taking a test during this period, or there's some type of test you're working on, I feel like it's tough, and but you bring everything you have to the table, and then afterwards you're able to really let go and have some fun, okay? I do feel some of you could be dealing with a demanding vendor. I am getting that too, or somebody who really, really needs answers, and you're the one that has to give them. But after that, and for those of you that are doing any kind of a sales pitch, I feel like, boom, your mojo's back, baby. I feel like you're coming back, okay? Or your streak of good luck on something is coming back with this Wheel of Fortune. And it's like you get your mojo back. And some of you may be needing to go on the road for work or travel a little bit for work, but you're upbeat and your mojo is coming back after a phase of being tested, okay? But I feel like it goes well, and I feel like you're like, boom, I just landed this account, or boom, I'm in the money again, or boom, I'm actually lucky, okay? Actually, like, I should go probably play the, you know, slots in Vegas or whatever, because I'm over here hitting it, okay? I'm over here hitting it. And I feel like you surprise even yourself, pile number 1. Okay, you're very intuitive during this time. Third eye chakra, sacral chakra, very creative, very intuitive, very much understanding your role in a particular situation and what's required of you, and coming up with creative solutions to any problems that come up. I feel like you're the ideas person. You're the person that gets the ball rolling. You add a lot of, you know, positive energy into situations, and it's good. We need people like that. Show us how it's done, pile number 1. Show us how it's done during a Venus retrograde, all right? And with death and rebirth, you know, that's a really good energy for Venus. Why do I keep saying Venus retrograde? That's a really good energy for Mercury retrograde, is, you know, like looking at what you're doing and deciding, do I want to go in that direction, or do I want to go in a different direction? Or revisiting something that you were working on from the past and saying, you know, I really want to revive that energy. You know, I really want to go back and finish that. It's a really good time, I feel, for you guys. It's a good time for cleanup. Okay, the cleanup factor is strong for you guys during this retrograde. Okay, and if you feel like somebody isn't believing what you're saying, or you're not able to get across what you need to say, take a deep breath. You are going to get your mojo. You are going to get your, you know, your energy here, I feel. Okay, and actually Sun, Moon, and Union, people are really seeing things how you're seeing it. And they're like, okay, I see what you're saying now. All right, it feels really good. Let's get a little bit more energy about this death card here. Spirit, can you show me a little bit more? Also, I feel the powerful friend defending you is this death card right here. Honestly, the scorpionic energy, some of you may have a Scorpio in your life that you know has your back through thick and thin, and if anybody tries to fuck with you, they will step in. Okay, I like it. Or maybe you are that Scorpio, but you got it, okay? And I feel you guys are able to shine and do your thing because you know you've got that support, all right? And they're like, don't mess with pile number 1, all right? And let's see here. I want to get a few more here regarding, I feel like something ends, but you're fine with it. You're more than happy with it, pile number 1. You're like, good, I feel lighter. I feel freer. You know, I'm coming to the top of my game. I feel lucky. Do you feel lucky, punk? I feel like you guys are like, yeah, I feel lucky. Okay. We have sadness and confidence. Wow. Okay. And this is where you guys could have been wondering, like, where did my confidence go? And remember, I was just talking about getting your mojo back. Okay. And, you know, I love Death and the Wheel of Fortune for audacity factor. And I love it for that mysterious mojo coming back. And you guys could have been really upset. I feel like, you know, I'm wondering, like, thinking, where did my confidence go? Like, I used to be so freaking confident and I used to be so sure of myself, but why have I not been feeling that way? And I feel like this is something you remember about yourself, even from a past life. I feel like you guys were ballers in a past life. Anyway, I feel like people just wanted to be around your energy because they're like, pile number one's a winner. Okay. And lately, maybe you haven't felt that way. You know, life has been tough. Things have been hard. Things have been challenging. Okay. But you're getting your confidence back, baby. And I love that for you, pile number one. You're so happy to end this chapter. And you're like, you know what? And I feel like you're coming out of it like you're more accomplished and more respected than ever. And it's like, you know, yeah, I was sad that I wasn't feeling like my mojo is there, but it's coming back big time. Okay. And I love the Page of Wands for confidence. Okay. And, I also love Page of Wands and Sacral Chakra for creativity and, you know, and feeling sexy too. I do like that. And it's like, yeah, I am feeling better. Okay. So pile number one, good for you guys. I'm happy for you guys. Pile number one. It's about damn time. Okay. I just quoted Lizzo. I know there's going on a lot going on with her, and believe me, I have a lot to say about it. Pile number one, but I can't believe I just quoted her. Isn't that funny with everything going on? Let's go ahead and move on to pile number two. Alrighty. Pile number two, welcome to your reading. You chose the apple, and today's reading is called What to Expect During Mercury Retrograde in Virgo. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and get into it. Mercury's already stationed right now and is not moving from 21 degrees Virgo, and we'll be hitting retrograde motion here in just a couple days time, okay? So we've got the apple here. Let's go ahead for pile number two. If you're wondering what I was channeling astrologically for this Mercury retrograde, you can listen to my intro, pile number one, where I talked about what's happening in the mutable signs and Mercury's opposition to Neptune and quincunx to Chiron during this period. But let's go ahead and get it here for pile number two. Spirit, can you show me what does pile number two need to watch out for during this Mercury retrograde? What does pile number two, I feel like you guys have been doing what you've been doing for a while, pile number two, okay? Let's go ahead and see. Two of Swords, okay. Maybe a little bit of indecision, maybe a little bit of having wires crossed. I did talk about putting off conversations that are like really heavy or have the opportunity to be completely misinterpreted during the retrograde. And I did speak about that during my intro. So that may be something that you guys are thinking about as far as the timing of something or trying to make a decision about something, okay? But let's go ahead and see for pile number two. We have the 12th house and surrender, okay? Dreams, forgiveness, baggage, the unseen, healing, spiritual development, guilt, prayer, and Akashic records. Now, what's very interesting is Mercury is opposing Neptune during this Mercury retrograde. And I think it's very interesting that we have the 12th house here because I was talking about dream work and receiving messages during dream time, okay? And the subconscious mind delivering certain messages during this retrograde that you need to hear. And I feel like for some of you here, this does have to do with a healing. I am seeing the letter F and C, okay? I'm also seeing an A, all right? And perhaps there is some messages coming through your dreams and you're understanding a bit more. Also, the 12th house is great for hypnosis. And sometimes when we're trying to develop, you know, better habits or things like that, people will go, or for healing, will go for hypnosis sessions. You know, Mercury retrograde opposite Neptune, you know, maybe, all right, maybe. Interesting time for hypnosis. I did mention that too. All right. But the 12th house is where we kind of feel like chilling. We kind of feel like staying in bed. We kind of feel like surrendering and relaxing and, you know, maybe not putting so much effort, but taking a little bit easier. And that's definitely that Mercury opposite Neptune. Okay. And some of you here, you may be reading up on spiritual healing or different types of spiritual study, as well as a way to access that healing. Or maybe perhaps you're going for Reiki sessions, or you're going to a spiritual retreat, these types of things. Could be a good time. We have butterfly and evolve. Ooh, the deep subconscious work of evolving and changing. It's all a part of a bigger process, I feel, for you guys, pile number 2, that's been happening for this entire year. Really, like this Mercury retrograde is just a little piece of it, but I actually feel some of you are in a big change right now, or a big evolution, a big spiritual evolution, soul evolution going on within you. And, you know, and that can take a lot of energy out of someone as far as physically and emotionally. So there may be a need to, you know, take care of yourself right now, okay? We have jug, lighthearted, carefree time. Jug, okay? Interesting. A lighthearted, carefree time might be what's needed as well. Although the 12th house isn't necessarily like the most lighthearted place in the chart. It can be like an escapism type of a thing, maybe needing to escape some of the heavier stuff and enjoy yourself. We have wreath and sorrow over a loss, okay? And, you know, sometimes we can avoid like facing something, and sometimes it's healthy to not try to process everything all at once. And I feel during this retrograde, you guys may be feeling just a little bit lost, and you may be feeling like, should I be having fun? Should I be enjoying myself more? Should I be staying home and like grieving? Do I need more sleep? And you may feel a little bit up and down this retrograde, or a little bit undecided about what to do, to kind of like self-soothe is something that I'm getting here too, okay? But don't overthink it. If you need to have some lighthearted, carefree time, do that. If you need to grieve a loss and really feel the emotions, especially during the Mercury opposite Neptune phase of this retrograde, please do, because I feel it could be very healing for you guys, okay? And perhaps some of you are going through a loss of a particular person in your life, whether a relationship left your life, whether it was, you know, a death, or you're grieving the loss of a death of a family member or friend. But it's okay, you know, it's okay. And perhaps doing something special to commemorate that person, or commemorate, especially for those of you that lost someone due to like ill health or death, like doing something nice to commemorate that person in your life and what that means, okay? The 12th house is where we can really start questioning, like, what is the meaning of life? Why am I here? Why does anything matter, you know? It can really be a place where nihilism starts to creep in, but I also think it can be very self-exploring exploring as well, like really exploring self and really getting to the bottom of things. Like, why am I sad? Or why do I feel this way? Or how do I need to take care of myself when I'm grieving and letting go? Really interesting questions to ask during Mercury retrograde. We have 8 of Swords, trapped in fear, okay? And yeah, there definitely is, the Neptune part of this retrograde is a lot, because I feel like, you know, there could be some procrastination, like I don't want to make a decision, I don't want to have this conversation. There could be a little bit of anxiety here, I'm not gonna lie, pile number 2, but I also think that yes, your life is changing, yes, you're letting go of things, but sometimes like we make it even worse in our head by avoiding something too, okay? And we make it like, because we're procrastinating on doing something, or we're overthinking it constantly, or it's constantly on our mind, but we're not doing anything to expel that additional emotional energy. I guess I would just really watch your mental health during this time, pile number 2. And we all need to watch our mental health, frankly, all of us do. And I would just make sure you're not self-recriminating, self-blaming during this period. I should have done this, I should have done that. Just being careful that you're not guilting yourself to death, and you're not overthinking things to death, and that if you are feeling some feelings of loss or sadness, that you let them just kind of, you know, come through you and not try to fight it, okay? We've got the 8 of Wands here, accelerated motion. I like that. And again, she's looking up at the sky and she's like really questioning, like, why this, why that? Lots of unanswered questions in life, lots of mysteries in life, but you know, the sun's gonna rise again, as they say, and the life keeps moving forward, even though it appears that, you know, things are retrograde. And actually the planets don't physically go backwards in the sky. From where we're standing on the earth, they're appearing to go backwards from an earth perspective, and that's why it's called retrogradation. But anyway, it's like, I feel you guys really understand something and you're like, boom, I got it. I got the lesson. I get what it is, like cosmically and on a deeper level with this 12th house. And I feel like once you get it and once you go through it, it's like, boom, I can move forward now. All right. And I do feel after this Mercury retrograde, you're going to be moving towards more accelerated evolution, more. And again, I feel it's more about this entire year and what you've been going through, not just a 3-week period of Mercury retrograde. But I feel like some deep questions are coming up during this retrograde, pile number 2 for you. But after you address them and after you grieve and let go and go through the motions of it, it's like, boom, things really pick up after this retrograde is over for you. Ooh, we have magic here. I love it. And the 12th house is definitely a place, a very magical place where we can be very psychic and we can really tap into the spiritual worlds, okay? And lighthearted, carefree time. Perhaps some of you are learning about different forms of magic, but it's almost like while you're grieving and letting go, and then you go have some fun and you balance it out with having a good time too, it's like, boom, all of a sudden magically things start to shift. I love that. We have dignified and strength, okay? And a lot of people, when they're grieving, they don't want to be around other people. They don't want to cry in front of other people. They feel embarrassed about that, or they really just want to be by themselves a lot. But I feel like, you know, it would be, you know, and I feel like our culture doesn't really understand grief, you know, pile number 2, but I also feel it's okay. If you cry, if you're upset, if you're going through something, it's okay, you know? You're still like a very dignified and strong person. Just because you cry, or just because you have feelings, or just because you're going through something doesn't mean that you're not still a magical fucking being with the ability to really understand things on a deep level, okay? Pile number 2, so just so you know that. And let's see what else we have here. We have the 10 of Wands, okay? Needing a break, needing rest. We have the 8 of Cups, needing emotional release, all right? I also feel forgiveness could be a thing that's coming up for you guys during this period too. Forgiveness, letting go, emotional release. We have the 3 of Cups. Yeah, this is the lighthearted, carefree time that really brings up the magic for you guys. And if there's, friends you want to connect with, or people that you would like to see, or fun things socially that you can do, I also feel like when you feel up to it, it's okay to have some fun too, because life can get very heavy. And I also feel some of you could have a chance meeting with someone that is really cool, that's really fun, that really lightens the mood. Let's see what else. I kind of feel with this accelerated motion, you guys are like, when is this change going to be completed? When is it going to be done? I feel like this Mercury retrograde is you're doing a little more work, okay, before that whole period happens. We have the Lovers, pile number 2. Very cool. And this here, sorrow over a loss, okay? So it could be a loss of love. It could be a loss of a partner. It could be a loss of somebody that you really felt very attached to, okay? But circumstances made it, and you two parted ways. Or I feel like something where you thought, oh, we are going to be together and in love, or we're going to be a part of each other's lives forever, and circumstances changed, pile number 2. And I feel you're grieving over that. It could also be a friend, it's not just love, but just somebody where it's like, I thought this person was going to be a part of my life forever, and they're not. And I feel like you're accepting this during this Mercury retrograde period. You're really coming to an acceptance over this, and it allows you to move forward, okay? And perhaps some of you have been isolating yourself with this 8 of Swords and 12th house as you've been going through this grief, or as you have been letting go, okay? And but I do think you're going to have some really good times during this retrograde too. I do think you're going to have some lighthearted, carefree time in the middle of, processing all these emotions here too, okay? We have the Knight of Wands. Interesting. Okay. And, I do feel like something pops out of the woodwork from nowhere. And you guys, I feel you guys are going to have a conversation with someone, or you're going to meet someone, and you may be thinking, is it too soon? Okay, is it too soon? And I feel some of you may be going out on a date, or you may be get invited to something, or you want to go do something, and you may be wondering, is it too soon? Am I going to feel up to it? I feel like you actually have fun and it's good for you, okay? And sometimes we agree to go someplace and do something, and then the day rolls around and it's like, I don't want to, But I also feel it's really good for you guys to get out of the house and to get out of your heads, okay? And I also feel like, I was talking about this Mercury retrograde, about how people may not wanting to be having certain conversations right now. And but I feel almost like you guys are like, yeah, I'm uncomfortable. Yeah, I don't feel the best, but I'm going to do it anyway. Okay. And yeah, I would just be a little bit, careful about what you say and the actions that you take. Pile number 2, okay? I think you're doing great. I think you're doing really, really good considering the circumstances and what's been going on, all right? And, but I also feel like I said this Mercury retrograde starts out with Mars, and so there could be some actions that are taken that are very impulsive or rash or that type of thing, and then you're like, oh shit, You know, I was trying to, you know, now I feel worse, or now I took some action on something and I feel like even more in my head about something, okay? But there's also this theme here with the 12th house of forgiving yourself and letting go. You know, we can only like beat up on ourselves for so long. We can only like question ourselves for so long. We can only guilt ourselves for so long before it's just like, you know, I just want to get out of here, honestly, okay? And some of you may feel like, I just want to leave. Like, this is a very heavy experience that you guys have been going through. And at this point, you're looking for something more fulfilling, is what I feel. Pile number 2. Let's go ahead. I'm going to get a couple of cards here for this Knight of Wands. Spirit, can you show me a couple of cards here for this Knight of Wands, please? This Knight of Wands. We have caution just popped up. Yeah, I mean, be cautious where you're acting from, and maybe there's some anxiety there, but you want to go anyway. Just, you know, be gentle with yourself, pile number 2, okay? Try not to jump head first into something immediately. Or if you really are feeling bad and you really are not in a good space mentally, you know, spend the time to take care of yourself. And I get with the 10 of Wands and 8 of Cups, it gets boring, it gets lonely, it gets tiresome. You know, I feel you guys really wanting to move on, okay, from something, but don't rush yourself either, okay? So we have caution here. I'm just going to get a couple of cards. Can you tell me, Spirit, can you expand a little bit more on this Knight of Wands for us, please? Can you expand a little bit more, please, on this Knight of Wands? Okay. Frustration and trust, okay? And I feel it might be a little bit of an impatience type of thing going on. And, you know, I feel like it all works out okay at the end of the day, but I also feel that you're nervous about something and you want to talk to this person about this, but I feel you've tried to in the past, okay? I also feel trust could be a frustrating issue for you guys, pile number 2, okay? Like trusting in the future, trusting in the timing, trusting that everything's gonna be okay. And yeah, and that may cause you to like take some impulsive actions or to move on something when you're not ready to move on it. So I would just be, you know, careful with that. And you may be feeling like, well, who can I trust, or who is trustworthy around me? And you may get very mad if you find out that someone has been not being very trustworthy. You guys may get very frustrated and angry and upset with that person. But I also just feel like plans have changed, and that could be something going on here too, pile number 2, that plans changed on you or plans switched up on you and you're frustrated about it and you want to do something about it, but it may not be the right time to do something about it because we have surrender here. Okay, so just having to trust the energy of where you are now emotionally and kind of work your way through that is what I think is the best bet for you guys during this Mercury retrograde, okay? And yes, have fun. Yes, enjoy yourself. Yes, grieve and let go. Yes, look forward to the future. But I wouldn't recommend, like I said, doing any rash actions because you hate the feeling that you're in, and I can relate to that. Like, I can relate to that impulsivity, pile number 2, but I also feel like there's a huge benefit to like staying with the process and staying with what's currently needing to come through you, okay? So thank you so much, pile number 2. I hope that reading resonated for you, my loves, and I'd love to hear your comments, your thoughts, and your feedback. Thank you so much, pile number 2, and take care. Woo! Look at jumping apples. Let's move on to pile number 3, okay? Let's do it. Let's do it. Okay. Pile number 3, welcome to your reading. You chose the strawberry, and today's reading is called Mercury Retrograde in Virgo. What to expect, okay? What to expect. And I did talk about it at the very beginning of this reading about what was happening astrologically, not just that Mercury was retrograde, but also its opposition to Neptune and its quincunx to Chiron. So you may want to give that a lesson. Pile number lesson. It's already starting. You may want to give that a listen, not a lesson. Oh Lord. I can tell already. I have, a lot of Virgo and some Gemini in my chart, pile number 3. So, this retrograde in Virgo is definitely gonna be on me. I know it, pile number 3. Let's go ahead and see. For my loves in pile number 3, what can pile number 3 expect during this retrograde? What can pile number 3 expect? Taking care of your throat chakra for sure. Pile number 3. Let's see what else for this Mercury retrograde. I've already started drinking tons of tea, lemon ginger tea with a little bit of cayenne. Pile number 3. I'm already pre-thinking about taking care of my throat chakra. So anyway, we have the 10 of Cups. Everything's gonna be lovely. Everything's gonna be okay at the end of the day. Nothing to worry about, and perhaps some of you go into these retrogrades with a little bit of anxiety and you're like, not again, but it's gonna be okay, my loves. Let's go ahead and, I do think you're a big portion of this retrograde for you is emotional, being able to relax where you are and appreciate where you are and have gratitude for the place that you're at emotionally, and appreciating the relationships in your life and the people in your life. I do think it's a good time, especially with Mercury in such a, Mercury is exalted in Virgo. Mercury loves to be in Virgo, but when it's retrograde, opposition Neptune, making a quincunx to Chiron, it does get challenged, and I do think we're gonna need to relax during this retrograde, pile number 3. It's also, this retrograde is starting with a conjunction to Mars. So I think we just need to relax a little bit here, okay? And we have here sextile and opportunity. Very cool. This energy provides you with an opportunity and opens doors for you. Pile number 3, a welcome development in your life. Phoenix, rising from the ashes. Ooh, I love this for Mercury retrograde. Something comes back around, and it's something good. Pile number 3, something comes up again and is, rises from the dead again, comes alive again. And this could be a work opportunity, it could be a creative opportunity, a collaboration opportunity, but it's good for you. That's the point, is that it is good for you, and it's kind of coming out of the blue again, and it's turning up again out of nowhere, and it's interesting. Pile number 3, very cool. We have mice, discord among friends or family. Yeah, well, I did say about, and that's where I said the 10 of Cups here, like appreciating gratitude, calm energy in the home. And we just want to be careful too, especially like if we're collaborating and we're really excited and we're like, oh yeah, we're going to collaborate with this friend. It's going to be awesome. We just want to make sure we've got the same vision, or we're shooting for the same thing, or it's aligning. I also feel, like I said, Mercury is stationing retrograde right against Mars. And Mercury and Mars and Virgo in a conjunction together. Yeah, I did talk about avoiding, not getting into huge conflicts, not nitpicking other people, staying away from the road rage, all that kind of stuff. Just no. during this Mercury retrograde period. We have Spear, heartache over what you no longer have. Oh, you guys. This could be, it's piercing a heart. So this could be a relationship. And, you know, here's the thing with the discord among friends or family. Like, you guys want different things, okay? I do feel an opportunity comes back around that has to do with your friends or family, okay? But also, that's great and that's wonderful, but I also feel people want different things. So it's really important to understand, do we share the same vision of what we want? And this heartache over what you no longer have is definitely something coming up. And this Mercury is opposing Neptune, which of course, Neptune can bring a lot of nostalgia, can bring a lot of like visions where we tell ourselves something was better for us than it actually was, or we start missing something, or we start missing a dynamic, or we start imagining something in our head as being something better than what it was. Like, we want to be careful of that energy during Mercury retrograde. Like, our tendency to put someone on a pedestal after time and go and just kind of forget everything that was wrong with the situation, or everything that was bad with the situation, or everything that didn't really gel with us. We want to be careful. And I feel like this Mercury retrograde is a little bit mixed for you guys, because there are some opportunities that come up that are like, whoa, I wasn't expecting that. That is really cool. I'm going to go ahead and welcome that opportunity, and I'm going to go ahead and take that. Thank you very much, Spirit. But I also feel there's this other energy, maybe of a nostalgia, or maybe missing people. And I, you know, with Mercury opposite Neptune, Mercury in Virgo, retrograde opposite Neptune in Pisces, I do think there could be this like wishful thinking, or this putting on a pedestal of something from the past that no longer really like applies. Or, you know, one thing I've noticed with Mercury Neptune is the tendency to lie to ourselves and make something seem better than it is in our own head, you know. And I've definitely seen that in my own transits. When I've had Mercury Neptune transits, it's like, wow, you know, and then you come out of it and then you're like, what the hell was I thinking? You know. And there's this whole issue of, do we want the same thing, and do we have the same vision for our life? Okay. And the Ten of Cups is about having a shared vision for happiness for the future. And I do feel like somebody could have disappointed you, or somebody really could have squashed that for you, pile number 3. But I also think that there is this sense of needing to reestablish that vision for yourself, but in a new way. You know, if somebody crushed your spirit in that way, or crushed you in a way that made you feel very disappointed, you know, emotionally, I feel like it's a good time now to have a rebirth with this Phoenix, and to really like go, you know, I have an opportunity to do this a different way next time. Okay. And we have here material harvest with the 9 of Pentacles. I love that. 9 of Pentacles is Venus in Virgo. It is very productive energy. It's very industrious energy. And it is about, you know, accumulating things for your foundation and for your material safety. And I do think like saving money, focusing on your work, focusing on the amazing opportunities that you're going to have coming towards you when it comes to your work, being thankful that you can support yourself and that you're so talented in what you do. We have here temptation. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. We have the 9 of Pentacles and the Devil. Okay. And yeah, so, you know, I feel like you get going on a good path, pile number 3, or you're like really focused on your goals, or you're really intent on, you know, eating healthy, establishing a new routine, like sitting down to work X number of hours a day. Like, you've got a lot going on, but then I feel like there's this temptation that's like, you know, the cheesecake from the kitchen is like, eat me, you know, and there's the phone and it's like, the ex pops up, call me, or, you know, or you're busy doing things and minding your own business, and all of a sudden you get an inflammatory text from a family member or from a friend, and it's like, or somebody invites you out to go like get crazy or have a wild night, and it's like, I don't know, okay? I don't know. I feel like you guys are definitely gonna have some temptations during this Mercury retrograde. I tell you though, pile number 3, it is gonna be interesting, okay? We have meditate. I love this for you guys, okay? Meditate. If you feel like temptation is coming up to grab you by the balls, as they would say, pile number 3, if you feel like temptation's got a hold on you, then it's a good time to meditate. It's a good time to take 10 steps back, okay? And to really slow down the mind, because when we have Mercury opposite Neptune, actually Mercury opposite Neptune may be a really good time to meditate for higher level spiritual thinking, meditation, starting a new meditation practice. It may be a perfect time for that, actually, pile number 3. But I also feel that if you're tempted to react to someone, if you're tempted to do something you know you shouldn't be doing, take a step back and meditate, my loves. We have Scorpio here and investigate, okay? And, but I also feel like this is about like going deep within yourself and going, hey, like, why do I still feel attached to this? Or why do I still want this? Or what are my self-destructive or self-defeating patterns? Where do I have a tendency to not want to let go of something? Where do I have a tendency maybe to seek revenge? Where do I have a tendency to get involved in things that I know I shouldn't be getting involved in? You know, and all of this intense emotional energy that can accumulate in Scorpionic energy. Okay, but I also feel like it fuels you to dig deeper, and that's the good thing. You know, there's many good things about Scorpionic energy, but I also feel like this Mercury retrograde is saying go deeper, okay? And go deeper within is what I feel, okay? And I feel like you're going to want answers for things during this Mercury retrograde. And the thing is that Mercury's opposition Neptune during this retrograde. So you may feel like I'm not getting the answers, and I'm not getting, like, I need answers, or I need this to be clear for me, okay? And that can bring about a little bit of obsessing on things too. Or like, if you're also pile number 3, I'm going to say too, for those of you that have a situation where you had to let someone go, or they let you go, or they really disappointed you, but you've moved on from this person, or at least in your mind, you're like, well, I have to move on. They're no longer in my life anymore, you know? But if you're still really holding on to something emotionally, I feel like this is a good time to kind of investigate why that is, and really meditate on that, and really say, like, why am I still like not letting go of this? Or why am I, you know, why am I tempted to do this? Or, you know, this type of thing. Phoenix and Scorpionic energy, okay, this retrograde is going to be very deep for you. I feel pile number 3. And, you know, heartache over what you no longer have. And it's like, you know, I really wanted something with this person, 10 of Cups. I really wanted it to be what I wanted it to be, and it's not. And, you know, sometimes we build up the dream that we have with someone in our heads, and then when it doesn't happen, it's hard to let go of, you know? But oftentimes that can have to do with an internal angst that we're having, rather than that person who wasn't right for us, okay? So I would really I think this is a good time with the Mercury retrograde in Virgo opposite Neptune to really kind of go within and question yourself a little bit, investigate. Okay, we have the Seven of Pentacles here, needing to take a break and slow down. We have the King of Cups. Okay, someone not appreciating your work and your efforts. And I have to ask you, pile number 3, this person from your past or this situation that you've gone through, did they really appreciate you and all the work that you were doing? Did they really make you feel wanted? Did they really appreciate what you were going through in order to make something happen? Or did they ignore your feelings? Or did they leave you with a lot of questions? And, you know, there's a real sense with the Seven of Pentacles and the King of Cups, like, that's not fair. You know, it isn't fair. Like, it seems like they moved on and they don't care. It seems like, you know, I'm left doing all this shitty cleanup work. And, you know, also this sense of my life feels shit without this person. Or it feels like, but honestly, you're doing well, pile number 3, with this Nine of Pentacles. So this tendency for you to like think that, gosh, I feel like you're actually doing well. You have to be careful during the Mercury opposite Neptune phase where you start to think things about yourself that are not true, or you start to put someone else on a pedestal. You definitely want to stay away from that energy. It can be very tempting during Mercury opposite Neptune. We have the Nine of Cups here, okay? And yeah, it's like, you're like, I did everything perfectly, or I did the best I could, or, you know, still this person didn't want this, or they wanted something else, or they lied to me, I feel, okay? And we have the King of Pentacles, pile number 3. Are you? I mean, I feel like you got it. You're going to get your revenge anyway. My Scorpionic people, my Plutonic people in pile number 3, you're going to have 2 people to choose from, or you're going to have multiple people that want to get your opinion on things. And if it comes to discord among family or friends, I feel like you're the one that really is kind of in the middle of it, which may not be great, but I also feel like, you know, you come out on top, okay, pile number 3. So don't be tempted to go to someone else's level. Don't be tempted in a moment of like, fuck, you know, I feel rejected or I feel upset. Like, don't be tempted, because I feel like ultimately you're the one in the position to make the decisions here, okay? Ooh, we have the Page of Swords. Oh my gosh. I feel like you guys are going to have a classic Mercury retrograde, pile number 3, where you hear from someone from the past, someone reaches out to you. And I mean, I feel like you're good though. You're 9 of Cups. You're in the middle and you're just chilling. You're like, you know what? These people can fight over me if they want to. Or, you know, and I feel like after a period of working really hard and feeling like, you know, I'm not moving in something, I'm sick and tired of putting in effort and nothing going anywhere, boom, a new opportunity comes out of nowhere, comes back around for you guys to capitalize on. Also, you know, relationship wise, you got more than one person here, okay? So I feel like you're open to hearing what someone has to say, or you're willing to hear someone out. But I also feel like during this Mercury retrograde, you guys have got the power with what you're saying. And, you know, your wit, your intellect, it's not slowing you down in any way. I feel pile number 3. Like, you are I feel like you could have some choice words for someone as well. And you could really put someone in their place if you wanted to. But I also feel you guys are very like good-natured and good-tempered, and, you know, you're more concerned with like the best revenge is having fun and like looking good and enjoying yourself. And, that's actually the best revenge. Okay. I do feel like you could be getting mad at someone during this retrograde and you are tempted to call someone out. I feel like pile number 3, and perhaps you may actually say something and be like, look, I'm not messing around anymore. Like either you listen to me or I'm done. I feel like you during this retrograde, while the rest of us are like stumbling over our words and we don't know what to say and everything, you guys are fine, okay? And maybe you were born with Mercury retrograde. Sometimes people born with a lot of retrograde planets are way better at handling retrogrades than the rest of us. But like, you are on point, okay? And you got some things to say, I feel like pile number 3. And this person can't even argue with you or your points. And I feel, what you say really strikes at the heart of the matter, okay? So that's very interesting energy. But I also feel there's this other person over here who's, wants your attention or is trying to, holler at you. And I feel like you're taking the side. If there is a fight amongst friends or family, I kind of do feel, although you're in the middle chilling, I do feel like you're taking one person's side over the other. And I do feel like you're saying something to the other person like, hey, you need to back it off or step it off, or I'm not, whatever. I feel you guys are really speaking out about something actually during this Mercury retrograde. And you find the strength to say what you need to say. Okay. And I think you're going to be very happy with the results of it too. And I feel like you're going to be like, yeah, this is how they act or this is what they do. But, I'm not going to let this other person say this other thing. So you guys may get involved in something like that, pile number 3. But ultimately, I feel like you've got the right words at the right time. Another person really hears what you're saying. Okay. Some of you could also be telling off an ex, or, they've got something to say to you and you're like, I got something to say to you actually. Okay. I like it, pile number 3. I really, really do. And like I said, they can't even argue with what you're saying because it's true. And you're like, ha. Okay, I love it. You still have that scorpionic energy within you. Whether you're a Scorpio or not, you're like, ha. I stirred the pot and I got a reaction out of you, sucker. Anyway, and some of you could actually have 2 people popping up and wanting to talk to you, coming out of the woodwork, coming out, rising from the ashes here, really giving you a lot to think about or giving you a lot to meditate on. Meditate, right? But I also feel like meditate on why you care what that other person thinks about you or not. Like, why do I even care? And why am I wasting my words or wasting my time defending myself to this person when I could be living it up and having a good time and talking to other people? I don't know. I think it's something to think about, pile number 3. And I do think it behooves you to stay really focused on your work right now too, because I feel like you've been going through stagnation, but this retrograde is going to bring something out of the woodwork that you've been waiting for. I feel with the 7 of Pentacles, you've been waiting for it and it's coming out of the woodwork. And you could be collaborating with this King of Cups, or you could be working on something with someone that actually goes really, really well and actually is really creative and really interesting and really fucking cool, okay? And yeah, so pile number 3, I'm liking the energy, my friends, and I hope this reading resonated for you. I send you all love and light, pile number 3, and thank you so much to everyone who came to their reading today. Take care.